The controversial One Big Beautiful Bill passed through the Senate yesterday by a slim margin. With a 50-50 vote, JD Vance had to come in and use his casting vote to break the tie. Lisa Murkowski, the senator from Alaska, through doing a deal, ended up voting with the Republican vote. The net result is the sweeping fiscal overhaul passed by the Senate 51-50, which reshapes America's tax code, social safety net, and spending priorities. So here's a breakdown. So what I've put together is a brief overview to make it very quick for people that want to get the picture. Okay, so $3.94 trillion is the projected increase in national debt. 11.8 million people are projected to lose healthcare. The total tax cut comes to $4.5 trillion. These are as projected. The Congressional Budget Office has verified these and has published its projections. All right, so let's have a look. So winners and losers. Who benefits most? So the bill's provisions are structured to deliver significant financial benefits to high-income households, corporations, and specific industries through permanent tax cuts and new spending. So let's look at the winners and the losers. Who benefits the most? So the winners. The bill's provisions are structured to deliver significant financial benefits to high-income households, corporations, and specific industries through permanent tax cuts and new spending. A widening gap, average annual tax cut by income. The bill permanently extends the 2017 tax cuts, disproportionately benefits the highest income earners, and the analysis by Tax Policy Centre shows a stark contrast in the average tax relief across the income spectrum. The lowest 20% get nothing, the middle 20% get just a little bit, the top 20% get significantly more, and the top 1%, as you can see, get a staggering tax cut as a proportion. To say that this is regressive would be an understatement. The way it's been structured, it seems, is the more you earn, the better you did. The less you earn, the worse you did. And so let's look at the losing side. Losers, who is negatively impacted. As you can see on this chart, to fund the tax cuts, to give all those rich people yachts and planes and bigger mansions, certain programs were cut. So, to fund tax cuts and new spending, the bill makes historic cuts to social programs affecting millions of the nation's most vulnerable citizens and halting progress in the clean energy sector. So let's have a look at this chart. Human impact, losing vital support. Projections from the CBO, that's the Congressional Budget Office. Another analysis shows millions losing access to healthcare and nutrition assistance due to new work requirements and funding cuts. So there's a projection of almost 12 million people that are going to lose healthcare insurance or healthcare advantages, etc. And it's projecting over 4 million people to lose food assistance. These are things like the SNAP program, which provides food stamps and lunches for children and things like that. So starving children whose parents, who are working as hard as they can, who can't make ends meet, who are in danger of being what they call food insecure, which is a code word for verging on or into some kind of malnutrition. This is going to affect a whole lot of people right across the board. Particularly if there is an economic downturn, this is going to have a staggering effect. So even if you're doing all right now, if the effect of the tariffs and a downturn, because if you really look at it, a lot of economists are projecting anything from some sort of a recession or, looking at the way things are going now, it could even be a depression. So even though this might only affect a projected 4 million at the moment, a little over, think about what would happen if some sort of strong recession or depression came in. This might rapidly move up, even tenfold. It's certainly possible. So these effects of the One Big Beautiful Bill Act, they're going to have long-term repercussions. So let's have a look at the key beneficiary groups. So corporations and businesses benefit from restored 100% expensing for equipment and research and development, plus enhanced credits for domestic manufacturing. Defence and border security industries receive massive influx of funding with an additional $150 billion for defence and $350 billion for border enforcement and infrastructure. This means that the ICE raids that have been going on are going to be dramatically increased. I've seen figures suggesting that maybe 10,000 new agents will come on deck and more equipment, etc. But what's hidden about this is things like, it looks like the Palantir software that's used to track people, and this includes your social media profile and footprint. This can be used extensively as they're now tapping into a variety of different government sources, including things like your financial revenue areas. So when it comes to taxation, the IRS is going to be, it looks like it's going to be inputting information, as are other areas, as is Social Security, we would imagine, and any department that can feed information. It looks like that's what they're going to be doing. So it's going to be one monstrous great database with profiles on probably everybody that's in the United States that has any kind of digital footprint at all. And that's where some of that money is going to be going for ICE. It will give them an extremely strong edge to track millions of people. Key impacted groups, low-income households, are going to do the worst. Face a 3.9% reduction in household resources due to Medicaid and SNAP cuts, far outweighing the very minor tax relief that they're given. This is once again based on the Congressional Budget Office. Seniors and people with disabilities are going to fare badly, while direct Medicare cuts are minimal. Loss of Medicaid coverage for dual eligibilities and increased demand on services like Meals on Wheels will have severe indirect impacts. So there's a national shift in priorities. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act orchestrates a massive reallocation of federal resources over the next decade. It significantly cuts funding for social safety net programs, while simultaneously boosting spending on defence and immigration enforcement. And as you can see, defence does fairly well, but it's the ICE and border security. So it's ICE that's getting the lion's share. SNAP gets hit hard, so that means food stamps, children's lunches, etc. They take a hit, but the biggest hit is Medicaid. What's that? $1.2 trillion. Medicaid takes a $1.2 trillion hit. So what this means is that the super rich get massive tax cuts, and these are then welded in permanently. It's no longer a temporary measure. And the poor take a significant hit. That's the reality. So what happened? Lisa Murkowski, some people would call it pork barreling. I know Senator Rand Paul indicated that he thought it was pork barreling. But Senator Murkowski did a deal so that there's all sorts of protections for Alaska. The three Republican senators that voted against the bill was Senator Rand Paul of Kentucky, Senator Susan Collins of Maine, and Senator Tom Tillis of North Carolina. As people may well note, it was a very tight vote. It was tied 50-50, that is 50 votes to 50 votes, with three of the Republican senators voting against the One Big Beautiful Bill Act. And JD Vance then cast his vote to break the tie, giving 51 to pass it against 50. Good news is that there are a number of measures that were taken out, mainly by the Senate parliamentarian using the Byrd Act. And one of those key things was the 10-year moratorium on states being able to legislate about AI. So that was out of the picture. And the other one was the infamous 70302, which was basically stripping federal courts of the ability to use their contempt powers. That was also taken out. So in sum, the richer you are, the better you did. The poorer you are, the worse you did. No wonder many people describe this as a terribly regressive budget bill, possibly the worst that there's ever been, depending on how you want to measure it. And so it really is a reverse Robin Hood bill, stealing from the poor to give to the rich. I hope that's been helpful. Please like and subscribe, and please comment. I would like to know what people think about this. Thanks again, and look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye for now.